Today I'm going to talk about SpinWings and finally lay this to rest. Does everyone actually shoot SpinWings? And if they do, why does everyone shoot SpinWings? We're going to get right into it because I've had so many questions over the last couple of weeks about veins, different veins, how to choose your veins, and I want to settle this once and for all. And also give a little history lesson of some past Olympic medals in the process. So let's get right into it. Before we do though, this is just your reminder, if you haven't already, go to onlinearcheryacademy.com, put your email address in at the top of the website here, and you'll get my free weekly email. I send 3 tips every Friday to everyone, and people just love this because it's really easy to read. You get free tips for free, and yeah, that's basically it. Let's now get into the video because I want to give you a little history lesson for those of you who don't know. This is taken from the 2000 Sydney Olympics. This is Simon Fairweather, and look at the vein he's shooting. SpinWings. Yun Mi-jin, also taken at the 2000 Sydney Olympics. SpinWings. Park Sung-hyun in 2004, Athens, SpinWings. Marco Galeazzo, 2004, SpinWings. These are individual Olympic gold medals, all of them. Zhang Zhuanzhuan in 2008, Beijing, SpinWings. And Victor Ruban, also in Beijing, slightly diagonally, but SpinWings. And now we get to Kibo Bay in London 2012, SpinWings. We will scroll down slightly. Oh Jin-hyek, also London 2012, SpinWings. Kubon Chan, Rio 2016, SpinWings. You can start to sense a pattern here. Shanghai Jin, SpinWings, also in 2016 in Rio. Mete Gazoz, I believe, it's very hard to see from the picture, I think he was shooting Jet 6 veins in Tokyo. I think he's the only archer, out of all the ones I'm going to show you today, that wasn't using SpinWings. The only individual Olympic gold medalist over the last 24 years. I think these are Jet 6, they're either Jet 6 or SpinWings. But we move on. Ansan, also in Tokyo, SpinWings. Kim Woo-jin from the recent Paris Olympics, clearly SpinWings. And finally, Im Shi-yeon from the recent Paris Olympics, again, clearly SpinWings. So you can see from here that basically most people shoot SpinWings. Basically, every single individual Olympic gold medal in the last 24 years, other than one, has been won with SpinWings. And I didn't even look back to 96 and 92 and 88, and I'm pretty sure there are more individual goals. I didn't look at the team rounds as well and the percentage of archers because it just gets too many to look at. But I think you get the idea. So we've established that most people choose SpinWings, and the request that I get from a lot of people is they get fed up with SpinWings being fragile and they need to replace them, they get damaged easily, and they want a more durable vein that performs just as well. The problem is, the reason SpinWings are the best vein is also the reason why they're the worst vein. And when I say worst, I mean in terms of they get damaged more easily. They are the most fragile, and they're also the best performing. And that is the same reason is what causes both of them. The reason they're better performing is because they don't get hit by the wind as much as stiffer veins. If you remember when spider veins were released, they had initially quite a stiff kind of feel to the spider veins. I can't remember when this was, maybe 2013 or 14 or something. And then after a little while, it turns out they released a second version, the ultralight or the whatever it was called, but it was essentially a more flexible, a thinner, more flexible spider vein variation, less stiff. It was less like the XS wings at the time and more like a kind of new vein on its own. It was more flexible. And again, you'll see this, the flexibility of the vein means that if the arrow is in the wind, it doesn't get hit as far. It doesn't get hit as quickly. And the problem people were having with the early spider veins from the archers that I spoke to when I was shooting internationally at the time, is they would see them leave the bow and it would be okay. And if it was a crosswind, they would just get absolutely hit by the wind and they'd see the back of the arrow get hit really strongly, much, much more compared to SpinWings. So my summary from this is SpinWings are by far the best, but people don't like them because they're fragile. And my solution to this is there are no free lunches. This is a trade-off, and you have to choose. You can either have the vein that is not going to get damaged and is much stiffer, or you can have the one that performs better. That is essentially the trade-off. And now what I want to mention about this as well, the difference is very, very small. So I should preface this by saying the difference between shooting a SpinWing and an Ellie vein or whatever, a spider vein, for most people, it doesn't matter. So this is the reason I wanted to make this video today, is so I can stop getting questions about which vane to shoot, because it doesn't matter. The difference is so small, and the choice should be so obvious just to shoot SpinWings and get on with your life, that this is just such an obvious choice. This is not a sponsored video. I wish it was. I shot SpinWings pretty much my whole career, but I wanted to make this video because I want to ask you another question here. Let's go back here. All these archers, particularly, let's just take the Korean archers, for example, from this series of pictures I showed you here. All these Korean archers, and we'll go back to Park Sung-hyun as well. Where's Park Sung-hyun gone? Park Sung-hyun, Yoon Mi-jin as well. With all the money, all the funding, and all of the investment and time and effort that the Korean national team put into the archery program, do you really think that they haven't tested which fletch is best? Do you really think they haven't tested that? There's so many people that have thought, oh, but there must be a better fletch. Like, yes, they shoot this, but there must be a better one, and surely I can find a better one. But it's like you're shooting 620 and they're shooting 690, and you really think they haven't tested which fletch is best? That would be naive, to say the least, wouldn't it? So, as a little story, I actually had the opportunity when they, maybe about a year or two after they opened the new training centre in Korea, in Jincheon, the new national training centre for all the Olympic sports. I think I'm one of the only foreign archers that has managed to actually have a look around that training centre. I was lucky enough to get shown around. And there was a man there whose whole job was shooting arrows out of a hooter shooter machine. And if you don't know what a hooter shooter is, it's basically a shooting machine where you ratchet the drawback, and it's kind of got like a compound release, but they actually had like a recurve imitation release on this one because they're the Korean national team and they do everything properly. So they had a man whose entire job it was to shoot arrows out of this machine. Are you telling me he is paid and salaried for probably multiple years, and I'm pretty sure he's not the only one whose job it is to do that? Are you telling me that they haven't got him to test which fletches are best? I think not. I think they have tested which fletches are best, and I think they've settled on SpinWings, most of them. And I think there's good reason for this. So, my question to you is, if you see all these archers shooting this vane, and you also know that the difference is quite small between most vanes, why are you being the guinea pig? Why do you want to choose something else? And this has turned into a little bit of a rant video, but I wanted to kind of really put this to bed once and for all so people can stop asking about different vanes and all that kind of stuff. Because you can clearly see that SpinWings work. Why do you want to be the guinea pig when you don't know, you don't have the level of shooting that these archers have? You might as well pick something that is tried and true and get on with your archery life and focus on the things that really matter. That is the key thing here. So I wanted to kind of make this summary video, if you like, on SpinWings. And I also want to mention as well, with the SpinWings, what things actually matter. So let's take another look. Let's take a closer look at these photos. So we can zoom in a little bit for you here. It might get a little bit pixelated, but just look at the fletches here. Do you notice anything with the fletches? And although it's only one arrow, obviously in Kim Woo-jin's bow, do you notice anything with the fletch here? And if we go to this picture, handily actually, again, it's another group. Do you notice anything with these fletches here? And then, again, full draw, notice anything with these fletches here? What hopefully you're noticing, and what I'm going to tell you now, is the fletches on every single Korean archer's arrows that I've ever seen are always perfect. It is far more important to maintain your arrows properly with good fletching, and absolutely like no crease and wrinkle is allowed. And I know my archers that I coach get really annoyed when I say this, because it means replacing your fletching regularly, and people don't like fletching. Okay, I get it. I didn't like fletching either. But there's a reason, because any tiny crinkle affects the flight of the arrow. It's much more important to make sure your arrow is fletched well and maintaining them better, rather than worrying about whether you're shooting the very best fletching, or maybe you could slightly angle this one differently. Let's put it simply. You want a slight angle on your fletches as you put them on the arrow. As demonstrated on the SpinWing packet, they say about this. You want a slight angle. Ideally, you want to tape the front of the fletching, i.e. here. If we scroll you want to take the front of the fletch. Maybe we can go to Shanghai Jin is a little bit more zoomed in here. You want to take the front of the fletch. I've also got a fletching video on my channel here that you can watch. Ideally, this might come as a surprise, you don't want to take the back of the fletch. Again, you'll see most archers will use overknocks or biter out knocks here. You can see Shanghai Jin has got these as well. And most top archers don't actually tape the back of the fletches. You firmly press them down. Don't take the back, because the problem when you take the back is you remove some of the curve of the fletch and you actually remove some of the angle that you've made on the fletching as well. So that is what you want to do with the fletching, and then just make sure they're always perfect. I know you've got to buy maybe another pack per year or another 2 packs per year, but if you're going to a competition, they need to be absolutely perfect. So stop worrying about which fletch is best. I would just say pick SpinWings, because it's such an obvious choice and the testing has already been done for you. On a side note, I also do know, I believe it was the Netherlands team of, at the time, Chef Vandenberg, Steve Weiler, and I think Heiss at the time, Broxma, I'm going to butcher his last name, but I believe they all tested over a period of months, and it's pretty windy in the Netherlands, similar to the UK, over a period of months they tested all the loads of different veins essentially, and they came to the conclusion that the SpinWings were the best. So again, this is another example of another high-level team having done some testing for you that you can say, okay, let's get on with the rest of my archery things. The things that actually matter, like my technique. Am I bow fit enough? Am I doing my bow training? Are my fletches actually not wrinkled, and are they straight and on the arrow properly? Because when I see most archers' fletches, they look appalling. So I would much rather you focus on those things that matter. Are my knocks new as well? Than things that don't. So today's video is a little bit of a different one, a slight rant video. Before you go though, I just want to make sure, if you haven't already, make sure to check out my Online Archery Academy video courses. I've got a beginner's course here and an advanced course here, and I just want to actually show you some of the things we cover in the advanced course. The only thing I'll say about these courses, other than all these different things that are covered, I mean, we talk about chin drag, string position, finding your anchor, different stances, your string picture, literally every single thing you need to know. I have a 100-day money-back guarantee on these courses, so you can enroll, use them for 100 days. If you don't feel you got any value from the course and it wasn't for you, send me an email, I'll give you a full refund. Only one archer ever has asked for a refund. So that's how confident I am that you will like these courses. So definitely check them out. And if you haven't become a member already, go to onlinearcheryacademy.com, hit become a member. And if the courses are a little bit expensive as well, I've made a membership that is an absolute no-brainer. So for just $2.99 a month, this is probably going to have to go up very soon, the price. So whoever joins now will be grandfathered in at this old price. But you get access to every technique guide and resource on my website. Get weekly Q&As on technique, training. So basically you can send questions in for my Q&A videos. I'm going to record one just after this video. You get tips from Kim Woo Jin, Steve Weiler, Bryony Pittman. I'm going to get some other archers on this year as well, and a whole load of other things. So if you haven't checked those out, definitely do. I'll be back next week for a less rant video and a bit more of a technique analysis as well, and I'll see you then.